It is an amazing day today, so before I get to work, I thought it would be a good day to take a little walk in the woods and show you some of the things that I've done. Started to clear out a little bit more trails, didn't record any of that because I wasn't sure what direction I was going, but I've opened up some spaces, so at least we can get in there now and start to show you around a bit. So let's head into the woods and take a look. So this is the opening that I showed you once before. We have a few of them now, but this is one of the primary openings, and there's one around the other side. And what I did the other day was I came back here with the B2601 and the box blade and basically just started scraping through and pushing through, knocking down small growth and whatnot, and just kind of fit wherever I could. So we've got a good area to walk around now, and it's actually starting to look like a real life trail. Although it's hard to see on camera, there are berms and there are valleys where this property was mined years ago. We think it was for sandstone, and I'll show you some of that when we get to it. But this is a deep, I just stepped down probably about 5 or 6 feet from the edge. But this ground is so high. We had tremendous rain the other day. I came back here the next day. Nothing. I mean, it just, there's so much gravel back here under this that it just drains immediately. Hachi likes it because she's a cat dog and she likes to climb high places. So she has a good time back here. She also likes to sniff out other animals, which is why she's already got skunked. Can't seem to train that out of her, but I hope she doesn't get it again. I really need to get a wood stove hooked up because there is good wood back here that just fell naturally. This is oak, and it's really solid and starting to season naturally, I guess. I'm not really experienced with firewood, but I guess I'm going to learn. But I'll tell you, just this one oak tree that fell, there's got to be a ton of wood in there. That's probably about, up here at the higher part, probably about 8 inches around. Down there, it's about 1 foot. So there is a lot of oak firewood right here in this one piece. There's cat dog. I have not seen any wildlife back here, and that's probably because Hachi keeps them, you know, guarded and hiding. I've seen deer tracks. There's certainly a lot of holes from groundhogs back here, so I know there's back here. And of course, Hachi got skunks, so we know there's skunks back here. And Ann saw some fox, not on the property, but nearby. So they're around, but you know, they hide. That's what they do. That's their survival. So I haven't seen anything, but it would be kind of neat to spot something. Now this trail, I started to make a turn to the left, and then to the right here, it loops back behind the barn. And of course, I'm working on clearing that area behind the barn so we can have a straight shot right back through here. This is what we're calling the old access road because it seems to be the flattest area and the one that would make most sense for them coming in from the side of the property. So that heads back to the barn, and then down here is the stream, and there's an extreme drop off here, but very picturesque. And I'll probably turn and make a walking path in here. I'm going to get the wood chipper back here because I've been using the chainsaw to cut down a lot of the low limbs that I couldn't walk under. So basically, my rule of thumb is that if the branch or the limb hits my head, I'll cut it off. So I like everything to be about 8 feet tall. Not that I'm 8 feet tall, but you know, basically make the forest ceiling the ceiling height of your house, about 8 feet You can see here I've cut off, that's about 8 feet tall right there. Just cut it off, and that makes it nice and easy to walk through. And then again, there's this extreme drop that I can't quite capture on video, but it's really steep and it's really a deep drop. So again, going to get back here with the wood chipper as I can push through with the tractor, then the saw, and we'll just pick away at it and get through here. Now there's a lot of areas like this, again, another berm, so it's maybe not big enough for the tractor, but we'll find a way. This is the field stone or the sandstone that I'm talking about, and on the top of these berms there are small pieces like this, and what we figure is that they were mining the big ones, the ones that are like maybe 2 feet wide, and they're used in old home foundations and chimneys. That's what the house basically is made from. So I'm sure the foundation for that house and the chimney base came from this property, as well as many of the other houses around here. She is so happy back here. Here's a good example of how gravelly it is underneath the forest bed. There's a lot of vegetation now from years and years of leaves falling. This probably has not been touched for 100 years, so the leaves have created a nice soil bed. But underneath of that, you've got a lot of this gravel. And of course, our groundhogs make plenty of holes. There's probably somebody living in there right now. As I'm walking through this forest, I'm kind of reflecting on things that I've learned as I've become older and wiser, and things that I've learned. And I'm going to get philosophical here for just a moment, because what I've learned is what I already knew, and that has really struck a chord with me over the past several years. I've realized that you know what you want. You know it. And if anybody were to ever ask me for advice, I would say be honest. Be honest with others, but more importantly, be honest with yourself. And that doesn't mean don't lie. I mean, at your core, be really honest. Because if you look inside, you know the truth about yourself. You know what you want. You know where you want to be. You know, you might be in a situation that you know is not right. It might be a job or a relationship or where you live. You know in your heart this isn't right. And yet sometimes it's just comfortable to move on, because it's scary to step out of that. But that's my point, is to be honest with yourself. What do you want? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? Who do you want to be? Sometimes we're not the person we want to be, but we know inside who we want to be. So I walk through here and I'm 12 years old again, because I always knew that little Eddie always wanted a farm, always wanted land. It was burning inside of me, but I never wanted to take the risk to actually make it happen. I never saw a way to make it happen. And this one just kind of unfolded. You know, we kind of cast a line here and things started to fall into place, and it was scary. And before we did this, when we first started having conversations about this, I woke up in the middle of the night with voices saying, you can't do this, don't do this. And I had to fight that off. I had to tell myself, if you don't really want this, then why did you ask? Why did you ask for it? So be careful what you wish for, as I often also say, but that's okay. So my point is, I've learned to be honest with myself, and that's not easy to do, but it's very satisfying to get to a point where you're where you knew you wanted to be all along. You are the person you wanted to be. I won't ramble with this, but I remember a specific time when I was probably pre-teenager. And I was with my mom, who was a single mother. My dad died when I was 2 years old, raised by my mom. And I remember being somewhere and seeing a teenager joking around with his mom. And they were laughing. And I remember at that point saying, I want that. I want to do that. I want that relationship with my mom. Because before that, you know, it was just parent-child relationship. And I knew in that moment I liked what I saw. And I began to be myself, joke around with my mom on a different level and make her laugh. And what a great relationship that was, because it didn't have to be that tense parent-child relationship. It was a friendship. And it was so cool to me that I remember that moment of saying, that's what I want. That's it. And of course, I'm much older now, but still I know that what you really want is deep inside. So that's my advice. Be honest. Be honest with yourself, especially. Know what you want. Pursue it carefully, but you know the truth. So this stream is the northern border of the property. The property line follows this stream all the way down to the corner where it meets another creek, and then that's the back end of the property. And we don't live in an area where there's mountains or anything where there's snow melting, but this, for some reason, runs year-round. We're very lucky. You know, it does certainly get shallower, but it does run year-round. And it's pretty clean. And pretty deep. I'm not going to step any further into there. Let's see if Hachi crosses the log. Uh-oh. Did it. The corner of the property. There's something in the deed that talks about a stone in a stump. It's not a marker. It probably goes back to the early 1800s, maybe even beyond that, talking about a stone in a stump is the corner of the property. And I have been using the GPS to get to the corner of the property, and I can't find this stone. And that's all it says, is a stone in a stump. So I don't know if they're talking about a stone or a big rock. It could have been moved years ago, but I can't find anything. And I've tried to zero in it, but I'm not going to give up. I've been tempted to even pay for a survey, see if a surveyor can find it, because I just want to find this stone in the stump. Because again, we're talking hundreds of years that it's been documented. So it would be really cool to find that stone. I don't know if I ever will. Again, it could have been moved. The stream bank, or the stream, is the border of the property. Over hundreds of years, those streams move. That stream could have washed in. That rock could have fallen into the water and been washed away. Or who knows? That rock could be on the other side of the stream at this point. But it'd be fun to find it. I'm hoping to get back here with something to clear all this brush along the stream bank so we could take a walk along there. Right now it's all just thick thorn bushes, and I know it's natural habitat. I hate to destroy that because I'm sure rabbits and deer and whatnot use it, but I'd also like to be able to walk on the property, and it's not easy to get through some of this area, so maybe we can do it thoughtfully. Ow. That we can make room for us and the wildlife. Where am I? What I've been finding more than anything on the property as far as wildlife are ground hornets. So that's the one probably fear that I have. You know, in this part of the state, we don't have any poisonous snakes or anything to worry about that way. You know, we don't have any animals that people say they've seen bobcats and things like that, but it's not really a problem. There are coyote around, but they're pretty sparse as well, so not really much to worry about around here as far as dangerous wildlife. But those ground hornets, I hit one yesterday. There's a spider web. right in my eye. I hit one yesterday with the tractor, and I got stung on my elbow and had to get out of there quickly. So it's so pretty back here. There are large areas with these pretty ferns. I haven't been under this bridge for probably 35 years. And when we were kids, we used to come here, ride our bikes down to the bridge, and we would play under the bridge. Now at that time, it was an old wooden bridge, like a single car bridge. It was made out of wood, and we used to play under the bridge. We used to look for glass. There were pieces of glass from the old glass factory in the area. So we would look for these big globs of molten glass. But we would play under the bridge and just wait for a car to pass over, which wasn't very often. But when a car passed over that old wooden bridge, it was so loud and scary, and that was the thrill that we would wait for, is for that car to go over. Now it's a modern concrete bridge, 2-lane, and it lost some of the charm, but it's a lot more reliable. There's where the ground hornets were that I hit yesterday. Apparently their nest is under there. And, well, guess I'll just leave them for now, but they're looking for it. Don't go in there, Hotch, you'll get stung. Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, we literally made it out of the woods. Thanks for taking that walk with me. I really appreciate it. I know I got philosophical back there, but you know, nature does that to me. I can't help myself. But I do want you to know that I don't want you to think that my message was, oh, everything's so easy. If you just be honest with yourself, everything will fall into place. You'll get everything you want. I get it. I get how hard it is. I've had my share of failures and mistakes and all that stuff, and I'm not saying that at all. So I get it. I really do. And, you know, this or any other achievements are very little doing on my own, but the one thing I do take credit for is that I've learned to be honest with myself. That's the only message, and I'm not preaching to you, believe me. I'm happy that you're here to just join along, and I was happy to show you the woods. So let's get back to work soon with upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I really do look forward to seeing you next time.